Well, here we are gearing up. In fact, we are here for the news review. Joining us, former candidate, presidential candidate of the Progressive People's Party, the PPP, Bridget Jogbanuku. Nowadays, she has her finger in many a pie, many different things she does. But right before I usher her into the conversation, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic is the place to go. Let's all make tracks there. Why? They're offering free prostate screening if you're a man, free fertility screening if you're a woman. And you can find them all across the country. Here in Accra, at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrade Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiama in Zama. The call lines, and you should call, 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. On that note, let me say a very good morning to Bridget Jogbanuku. Good morning, Bridget. I think you may have to unmute.
Morning, Ben. How are you?
I'm very well. I hope you've been well too.
Well, yeah, under the circumstances. We woke up this morning, we are breathing, we are healthy. We thank God.
Yeah, I know it could be better, but like you said, the basics are what matter. Once you're able to rise from bed and you are not there perpetually so that you cannot move your limbs and all of that, that's where hope starts. So we thank God for life. I just have some interesting things I want to run by you this morning. I'll put them all, I'll encapsulate them in one, and then we can get into the papers. Like I always do, I like to find out, as a businesswoman, you sell your Zumi, your other products, how are you faring? Are things any better? We're talking about inflation going down and all of that. Are you seeing that in the market? Are people buying more? I mean, what's the situation like? Then I would like you to tell me, especially as you're a politician, is the politics in this country getting any better? Over time, things are supposed to get better. It's like my father used to tell me growing up. He died very early, but I still remember little ones stand or they sit on the shoulders of their parents so they can see farther. So you'd expect that progressively things would become better. Is our politics, our political space, our democracy, is it getting any better? And the final bit I'll throw at you, I know you're very sharp and you'll address all of them together. The very last bit, dual citizenship in public service. Some have said it's a no-brainer that here, if you hold dual citizenship, you cannot hold positions like being a member of parliament. Who's been caught in there? The Asin North Member of Parliament, James Jachi Quayson. He's been caught. The former president, Mahama, is saying he would clarify that should his party come into power. There are some very interesting bigwigs academics who have also joined the fray. What do you make of it? So first, your situation as a business person, is anything going well? Is our political space, is our politics getting better over time? And dual citizenship. Over to you.
All right. Well, how's the markets? The markets is still tough. I think the last time I was on here, I told you about the fact that palm fruits were not in season, and therefore the price of palm had gone really high. Well, palm fruits are back in season now. It's gone, it's shifted, and I think it's all with climate change and all that. So the productivity of palm, if you're going simply by the season, has shifted a bit into the beginning of the year rather than towards the end of the year, or more, probably towards the middle of the year than at the beginning of the year. So we have the palm fruits now. The palm prices have come down. Palm oil prices have also come down, but nobody is buying. And nobody is buying.
The prices are low and nobody is buying them?
Sales are slow. They are buying, but sales are very slow. And it is because Yes, inflation. So in the past, where the prices would come down and therefore palm oil prices would drop very low, they've only come halfway low, you know, and that would have been the high point or the high price in the past.
Right.
So this is what we're dealing with, and of course, the sales are slow because generally there's very little money in circulation. People are, you know, are cutting down on their expense or managing their expenses, as it were. So it's difficult. It's not only for my products. You go into the supermarkets, you can see that things aren't moving. You don't even see as many people in the supermarkets as you expect. You can
That
see that
is
there's not
true.
as
That
yes,
is true.
can see that there isn't even as much traffic on our roads. So it's just the general economy. It's not just my products. Things are tough and things are slow. The market is slow. That's to do with the market. Now, our politics, I find it very interesting because I've been thinking through it. Is it getting any better? I think that the other day I was listening to a radio station where someone was saying what we need now is a certain disruption. He said clearly, I'm not calling for a revolution, but we need something to disrupt the system and then we do things anew. And I sent him a message and said, listen, we had that disruption. What we didn't do is learn from it. Um, and as long as we didn't learn from it, we have gone back to playing our politics, to playing post-colonial politics rather than post-revolutionary politics. And when I say post-revolutionary, yes, you'll say yes. The NDC have this maybe the ideals and the ideologies based on the politics of the post-revolution, but I don't think so. We continuously are playing this competitive politics. I am better than them. We will do this. They didn't do that. I think we must
Oh, let me
go
add
past
one.
that.
We have the men, they don't.
Yes, it's
I've heard the NDC also in one of the constituencies. Someone was saying that. And it made me laugh because these jargons sometimes prove to be nothing more than rhetoric.
yes. You see, it's divisive. We still believe in the divisive politics. How divisive we can be so much so that we discredit the other people. Yes, I mean things aren't going well. If things had gone well with the NDC at the time, we wouldn't have voted them out. So
Right.
obviously, it's time for us to be more collaborative, more multi-partisan. I won't say bipartisan because when you say that, you leave it into the hands of just the two major parties. More multi-partisan, bringing in other people, bringing in independents, bringing in the people who make up Ghana, all Ghanaians everywhere. Uh, I know that is somebody's
Yeah.
some party slogan
Ego
also, but
from back then. Every
yeah,
Ghanaian
but
living
that is
everywhere.
that is the point. We must be more inclusive. We have cut out so many people from decision making, and indeed, and I will always say, especially women, that it's become very one-sided and only for a certain kind of people. And when the other party comes in, we start to do that all over again. I mean, look at
Yeah.
this thing about the dual citizenship. You are only looking for something to cut out someone. Divisiveness does not build a nation. You cannot divide people and expect to build a nation,
Quick
whether
one,
it's along gender lines.
quick one on that point though. Shouldn't matter. So two angles. Shouldn't matter if Asemesi has traveled, has citizenship, Ghanaian citizenship, but maybe French citizenship or Canadian citizenship or citizenship for even Nigeria, but wants to serve in Ghana. That he's also Ghanaian or she's also Ghanaian. Does it matter? But the other end, and if you're into national security or anything of the sort, you would also consider people's allegiance, where they find affinity. Where, I mean, people have said that there have been Ghanaians who have leaked information to the CIA and others. every country engages in some form of espionage. And if you're not careful, they could use your own people against you. So two different angles to the conversation. You must be wholly committed to your country. What do you think?
I say this thing and it makes it sound very simplistic. But listen, what is our fear versus what is our love? Okay. How much this person is dual citizenship, but has a lot to contribute or wants to contribute to the well-being of his country. This is love being expressed politically, if you like. This is what I want to do. And then we're looking at the negative and cutting the person out. Can we look at what the person is bringing on board and how much they have to contribute? The Progressive People's Party, in our 10-point agenda, what people would call our manifesto, we have actually made clear that we would like to bring in all those people. The fact that you have American citizenship is not necessarily, it doesn't mean that you want the downfall of Ghana, or doesn't mean you are no longer Ghanaian. You know, this is somebody who has love for his constituency, for his country, and wants to contribute. But we don't want to look at that. We always want to look at the negative. You know, why do we want to, why that? And you see, this goes back to the post-colonial. What about the CIA? And what does the CIA want to do with Ghana so badly that we are afraid to put someone who has well-meaning intentions? Is he there? Is he coming there simply because he wants to sell Ghana to the CIA? I mean, surely. We must look for the good, the good that the person wants to bring to contribute. And there are many, many people, many Ghanaians with expertise, with knowledge, and with goodwill towards Ghana, who are out there in the diaspora, who would like to come and contribute to the growth and the development of Ghana. But we are cutting these people out when we know that when these are the people who will help build the country. And why are we cutting them out? Because of pettiness, really.
And so you agree with the former president on the stance that these people can contribute. You know, an interesting thing came to mind. I've just forgotten his name. I don't know whether it's Patrick Ewa. I could check. The Ashesi University.
Patrick Ewa, yes.
It's Patrick Ewa, right.
Yes.
Sometimes I think my brain it gets filled with so many things. Sometimes I think it's playing tricks on me. But someone like him, of his caliber, Microsoft and all of that. There are so many such Ghanaians. I'm on this platform, a migration platform, sort of. And if you look at the caliber of people there from all walks of life, from all spheres of endeavor, out there, UK, US, Canada, Sweden, Switzerland, all of those countries. And sometimes you ask yourself, if all of these people at some point were to come with the expertise they've garnered in other places and tried to bring them to bear, how would we approach that? A lot of the time, interestingly, we say it's like the year of return and beyond the return and all of that. How about our own people? When they come and they want to be a part of our story and moving the country forward, how do we receive them? So there are different angles to this, but it's refreshing to get your take on the matter. Let me just share this with you. Opia Kojo Mensah says, it's refreshing watching my neighbor share her views on entrepreneurship and national interest. I just had to read that. I knew it would give you a good laugh.
Well, he lives right next door to my sister, and I'm there most weekends. So, hello, Mr. Opia.
Great. All right, so let's get into the Daily Graphic newspaper now. And this one says, laws on false reporting essential, Professor Dateba. It's been a while. It's actually very good to hear from Prof on this matter. There's also scale-up operations with Creative Minds Minister advisors, graphic, and latest casualty. Firefighting hits a snag. Galamsey devastates water resources. And I'll definitely be getting into that story. Transfer unclaimed dividend to Registrar of Companies by September 2023. Pictured there, the Registrar of Companies, Jemima Mame Oware. On the back page of the paper, WHO sponsors national survey on NCDs and NGO constructs free boreholes for Bukom. Let's get into the major stories. So starting from the very front page to page 3, firefighting operations in parts of the country are the latest casualty of illegal mining, commonly called galamsey locally. Firefighting officials have lamented. They say the consequences of galamsey have gone beyond merely polluting water bodies and sources and now impacting water availability in the right volumes for fire emergencies. The Western Regional Fire Command, for instance, says low pressure in water service lines to its hydrants or points of replenishment is threatening fire service operations. It said that had arisen from illegal mining activities and warned of dire consequences for firefighting operations if galamsey was not stopped or treated as a national emergency. There is also that story on page 13. I'll just take that and have you reflect on both of them. So a former justice of the Supreme Court, Professor Justice Samuel Datiba, has said that a blanket removal of laws criminalizing false reports would be perilous. He said such laws existed to regulate mischief. Hence, conversations about the scrapping of such laws must be subjected to a process to see whether they still served a purpose under the current legal regime. Professor Datiba was speaking as chairperson of a lecture organized by the Directorate of Research, Innovation and Development of the University of Media, Arts and Communication in Accra yesterday. It was dubbed the legal regulation of hate speech, fake news, etc. Is it desirable? Is it possible? I just wanted to run these two stories by you, and maybe just to give it context, two legal provisions, the Electronic Communications Act and the Criminal Code, specifically Section 208 of the Criminal and Other Offences Act 1960, that is Act 29, have been criticized lately as stifling freedom of speech. There have been calls by the GJA, the Media Foundation for West Africa, the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, and the Private Newspaper Publishers Association. What do you make of these two stories? Especially with the galamsey story, where the fire service is saying this must be treated as a national emergency or we all fall. Bridget?
You know, there's an account proverb that says you don't need clean water to put out fire. You know.
Yeah.
You don't need clean water.
Yeah.
An older woman said it to me.
Well, that's it to it in English. No matter its quality.
You don't need clean water to put out fire.
Yeah.
And if even the firefighters are asking for clean water now, then we are in big trouble.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is the most basic form of water we need to put out fire. It doesn't have to be purified, it doesn't have to be clean. But of course, I mean, if you've got chemicals and mercury and sand and mud in the water, then it's no longer water. It's murky. It can't even run through their fire hydrants and all that. So
and we must also consider that the water may be so murky that if you run it through the fire engine or the fire hydrant, it could actually end up with so much silt or debris,
clogging it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that could be the problem as well.
Yes, and if even they are saying that they can't use water, then what about the water we are drinking and the water we are consuming? So that is almost like the last resort of people who are complaining about galamsey and water, and really. The government must be up and doing. Our president said he would put his presidency online. And we are not seeing that. I mean, here we are now, all kinds of reports are coming out. It's almost embarrassing. It's frightening. And yet, all we've heard is a disclaimer, if you like. Nothing is being done about it. Now, all we need is liquid, really, not clean water to put out fires, and we can't even get that. That is the ultimate. We are in big trouble. Right. We are. You know, with the false reports and criminalization of it, you know, fake news the times have evolved. you were referring to a law of 19, did you say 1969?
Yes, I believe it's either 1960 or that's the criminal code. So let me just
The criminal
confirm.
code,
1960, yes, 1960.
which is,
Criminal and Other
well,
Offences Act, Act 29.
I mean, things must evolve. And yes, you may not want to criminalize. I mean, I'm not an authority on the law, but 1960, we are in 2022. That's what, another
We're in
62 years or so.
2023, actually.
2023, yes. Oh
So that
gosh,
will be
you see,
63 years.
yes, I'm stuck in time. But anyway, 63 years, so much has changed. I mean, now you don't even need human beings to generate fake news. You know, AI and ChatGPT can do that for you easily.
Yeah.
So, therefore, the law must also evolve.
Okay.
Yes, fake news is bad enough, but at some point you will not have the opportunity to criminalize anybody for putting out fake news, because it won't be someone who will be doing it. They'll be generating it and not even putting a name behind it.
Right.
So we must also look at our laws and have them evolve to meet the times, and how it does not actually stifle writing and creativity and punish journalists unduly. And sometimes, it's almost instant punishment
Right.
with the security forces. So the law must be looked at and must evolve with the times.
All right. Let me just ask you this on the back of happenings across the world. Airstrikes on the international front, airstrikes hit Sudanese cities despite peace talks. We were able to get our students out of there. There's also at hospitals to power cuts, South African government. Interesting. South Africa's government says it will launch an urgent appeal against the court ruling that hospitals, schools, and police stations be exempt from power cuts, or that they be provided with alternative sources of energy like generators. Now, the decision was taken to avoid undue risk to the national grid at a time when the government was trying to end load shedding. The Minister of Public Enterprises, Pravin Gordhan, said in a statement on Twitter, South Africa has been hit with power cuts lasting up to 10 hours, seriously disrupting the day-to-day lives of people and having a damaging effect on public services and businesses. We've seen similar situations in Ghana. Yesterday, my lights went off. They came on much later, I think getting to midnight. But are we too plaintive? Do we complain too much in Ghana on the back of some of these? Just give me some 20 seconds. Do we complain too much in Ghana?
I don't think so. I mean, certain services must be basic to us. I mean, I remember very well when South Africa's power problem started. I was actually in South Africa once, probably early 2000s, I think, in the hotel room when the lights went off, and they were not used to that. We don't complain too much. Basic services utilities must be provided, and we pay for it.
Right.
So we cannot be comparing ourselves to somebody who has it worse than us and say, okay, we are okay. We should actually aim to have it like those who are better. We must always aim for better services. I'm sorry that your lights went off. I have experienced this a couple of times. Last week, my lights went off, and when they came back on, only my house was off, and I had credits. And it turned out there was a connection with the pole, so I was off for almost 24 hours.
Wow.
Oh yes, my food was going
If you
bad in my
had,
fridge.
I was
and
just
all
going
that.
to ask about that. If you had stuff in the fridge
Yes.
and all of that.
And this is not the time to be losing food and stuff in
Definitely
your fridge,
not.
you know. Yeah. So no, we must complain. We must continue to complain and demand that we are given the services as long as we are paying for them. I must commend the ECG MD who has instituted this thing of trying to get their electricity paid for by institutions. But like South Africa, maybe exempt schools and hospitals. Yes, I agree with that.
So So you agree with the court against government? Because government is saying, we're trying to end load shedding. We have some sort of scenario. So allow us to do this. It doesn't matter. You're a police station, your light will go off. You're a hospital, your light will go off. You're an educational facility, your light will go off. But the court is saying no. If you are going to do that,
Yes.
then provide them with generators.
I agree with that. I mean,
Right.
especially these are public services. And I mean, with a hospital, you want to turn off all the electricity. What about people on all kinds of machines? It therefore means that their lives are going to be cut short.
Right.
So, yes, we should do that. But in saying so, if you say we complain too much, was it last week? There was a hospital in the north that owed so much money that the ECG had gone and cut it off. And they were saying, you know what, people will die. I think that sometimes we must be merciful. We must be, kind and considerate of some of the institutions that, yes, they may owe a lot of money, but they are delivering care and health. So they must be considered and
All right.
their lights kept on.
Bridget, in the next 5 to 6 minutes, let's see what we can do. That's all we
Sure.
have left. The Ghanaian Times, and so when I throw the issues at you, you can just give me very succinct opinions. Ghanaian Times, review sections of District Assembly Elections Act to address low voter turnout. That's according to the NCCE. And government targets
What
1
will
million
happen?
jobs.
What can help with that is that you let a lot more. Let's start the district chief executive elections too. It will make it more
Okay.
interesting, and people will be
DCEs.
more interested in jumping in. Yeah.
Okay. Government targets 1 million jobs through entrepreneurial initiatives. You're an entrepreneur yourself. You love that space. I would like to get your take on that. And then landlord kills boy, inflicts machete wounds on father and sister. Let me just do those two stories quickly. A 35-year-old man identified only as Emmanuel allegedly killed a 1.5-year-old boy. Oh. And inflicted
Yes, I
machete
heard it
wounds
yesterday.
on 2 others at Adankwame in the Ekrima and Wabeja North District in the Ashanti region. Emmanuel, who is also a landlord, was said to have attacked the boy, Samuel Amo, his father, Mr. Obed Asamoah, and his elder sibling, Bridget Owusu, 19. The suspect is currently in police custody. However, it was not immediately clear what triggered the attack, but some close neighbors believed it had to do with rent payment. Oh, my word. And then that other story... So government targets 1 million jobs through entrepreneurial initiatives, and the government has targeted that creation within the next 3 years through entrepreneurial initiatives to advance the country's development. Minister of Trade and Industry, Katie Hammond, has stated. All of these, are they realistic? I mean, give me your very brief views on these, Bridget.
They're not. I mean, we saw, what do they call the last one that went a few months, and then the young people were picketing along the road. What did they call? There was a slogan for it. You don't remember, do you, Ben?
I know there's been NAPCO.
NAPCO. That's what I was thinking about.
And
NAPCO.
then
No, it's a lot of talk and very little action. And when you say that you're targeting, it's a lot of words put together. 1 million jobs through entrepreneurial. What is that?
Recently, the vice president told us 2 million jobs had been created. Now they're targeting another 1 million.
You destroyed so many jobs from financial sector cleanup. And when you know that you need to create jobs, you don't go targeting people who provide jobs to other people. And the financial sector cleanup, even though it was, yes, closure of a lot of, or withdrawal of licenses of a lot of institutions, what we didn't realize is the number of people whose jobs were affected and whose livelihoods were affected. So not just the people in employment, but the people who were dependent on them.
Right.
Now you're saying you're creating 1 million jobs through entrepreneurial, whatever. What is that? I say to people that we Ghanaians can be employed even in all the districts across Ghana. I say that in all the districts across Ghana, and I learned this from my campaign. In every district in Ghana, there is an economy. Every district has an economy around which it evolves. Every district. And what we must do is to empower the people already in that economy. I cite examples like a place like Nkwanta, where they have fish, river fish, catfish, which they fish and they dry and they export through Adabraka markets. What we don't do is we have not empowered those districts. We haven't fixed the roads. We haven't we haven't created an enabling environment for them to develop the economy. So when you keep saying these things about 1 million jobs and it doesn't touch the lives of the people in your communities, what are we saying? They will only come to Accra and sell dog chains along the road. And so, I mean, it's too much talk. Frankly, we've seen it
much
before,
ado about nothing.
Yes.
Let's just wrap with these newspaper headlines. Daily Guide, stay trial of Usuan Pofu to appeal court. It has to do with the determination of an appeal against the trial judge's order on him to open his defense after finding that the prosecution had made a case against him in terms of that plot to assault some public officers, if you recall that tape. Then there is Parliament set to grill.
Recall it.
If I may just wrap with these so you pick one or two.
Okay.
If you don't mind. Parliament set to grill News CJ. There's also NDC man arrested over journalist attack. I'm sure you've heard the Dagman FM situation. Idrisu Pagaza, who did that. And then first batch of youth start entrepreneurs begin trading in 188 districts. Again, Kobinata Hero Hammond saying that. We have a minute if you can maximize that.
I'll take the one which says Parliament set to grill CJ. I mean, even the choice of the language itself. What do you mean by grill? Why not a chat? Why not why do we try to make these?
I guess we like to make them fearful, almost as though.
Yes, it's anyway. I am sure that she can hold her own. I'm sure she can hold her ground. She can speak for herself, and it won't be a grilling at all because she's a woman in her own right and will be able to face them squarely, if I should use their words.
Well, she's definitely not tilapia, so I don't know whether any grilling will happen there. On that note, Bridget, we're immensely grateful for your time. Unless you have any parting shots in just a few seconds so we can go.
Oh, well, all the best to Ghanaians. We live from day to day and, let's thank God that we are alive. We've been given an opportunity again, another day to live and work and, let's enjoy it.
Thank you so much, Bridget. It's always, always, always so refreshing having you. And it's always good to, I think the next time I'll be looking forward to hearing from Opia when you come on board. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Bridget, thank you. Bridget Jogbenuku is former flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party. As we wrap and get into sports, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us to bring you this segment. They are offering free prostate screening, free female fertility screening. Now locate them in Accra, Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi Kronoma here, behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrady Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Siama Enzima. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Up next, sports. Stay.